So Ben, what can you tell us about Nizam?
Well, he has to be revealed through the film, Michael, and I tread a little bit of a fine line between spoiling the film for people and inviting them to see it. But he has an incredible journey in the film. Let me put it this way: that his journey through the film, it will reveal to the audience, moment by moment, who is behind the beautiful clothes, the elegant politeness, the wisdom, the gracious uncle, the dutiful brother, the member of a fine royal family, and one by one, the audience is allowed to have X-ray eyes, and you think, ooh, look at what's under that layer. Oh, that's not very nice. Oh, look what's under there, and look what's under there. So finally, you get to the engine inside the man that drives him through life. And it's not a very pleasant engine. It's brutal. It's envy and regret. He's poisoned by those two things. And he will do anything to change his status from number 2 to number 1.
This story takes place in an era when people believed in magic. What is the role of magic in this period, this life that you
our lives or
in the movie?
In the movie, I would imagine that it's very similar to ours. It's a very interesting question, because if I try and imagine what the 6th century perception of magic was, it's no different from our perception now. That's one of the things that hasn't changed, is our slight fear of magic, our fascination with magic, and our lack of curiosity as to how you do the trick. I've known many magicians say to people, "Would you like to know how I do it?" They say no. Isn't that interesting? They say no. I'd rather be mystified and entertained. I don't want to know how you do the trick. And I think that's a very important thing, that we should, as magicians, so filmmakers, actors are the modern magicians, these TV documentary programs that show the audience how we did it, no, they don't want to know.
What is it like to be in a major Bruckheimer film?
You feel it's like being a member of a very strong regiment, led by a strong general, and you feel that nothing can hurt you. It's dangerous, it's risky, it's very hard work. You are practically 24/7 part of that regiment or team or crew, whatever you want to call it. But you carry yourself with a certain pride, because you know with Jerry that you're not making a beautiful film that 3 people will see in an art house film. And they're beautiful films, but 3 people see them. They're kind of film that you're in where people say, "Oh, I saw that film." It's a kind of double-edged sword, you know. But with this one, the whole world's going to see it. And that makes the atmosphere on the set absolutely thrilling.
What was it about your childhood that set you up to become an actor?
I had a meeting of my own imagination as a child. I've always had a very strong imagination, very fertile, full. And my love of cinema from a very, very early age. And I went to see a movie when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I loved the film so much. And not only that, but I happened to look very like the little boy who was the lead in the film. He was a little Italian boy, and I looked very like him. So much so that a lot of people in the north of England, in Salford, where I used to live, thought that I was the guy in the film. They thought that I was the little boy in the film. So for a few seconds, I was the star in the cinema. It was wonderful. But I think it was that was the moment where I identified myself with the child, and I identified myself with storytelling on the screen. And then a little while later, my family called me the Danny Kaye of the family. That was my nickname. So obviously, it was I was changing. I was becoming the entertainer of the family. And then, of course, as I grew older, I realized that this seriously, this was my life. This is what I had to do.
And what was the impact of Gandhi on your life and your career?
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It was an Academy Award-winning script. It was an Academy Award-winning production. It was the director won an Academy Award. It was an extraordinarily responsible film at that time and now, because it's still, dare I say it, a modern film. Everyone every year, millions of people see the film every year. It's still one of my films, rather than it was one of my films. It still is one of my films, which is beautiful. It was how could I put it, a golden door into a career that I never thought I would have. I thought I'd be a theatre actor for the whole of my life, and suddenly it changed, and I walked into the wonderful world of cinema.